All right, we'll go ahead and get started. It's 9:05. Just as a note, this meeting will be recorded in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. By remaining on the call, you agree and consent to being a part of that recording. We'll call the meeting together at 9:05 a.m. this morning. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? I believe the only voting members are Suzanne and Nancy.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Nancy, are you able to give a second? We can circle back to that later as necessary. We've got a relatively light agenda this morning, so we'll go ahead and kick it off in the education sector and give a chance to MSDE to provide any updates on the local food exchange project, if there are any to give right now.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, Harrison. Good morning to everyone here. At this time, we have no update.
Not a problem. Thank you very much, Leslie. We can move right along, staying in the MSDE boat. Richard Kincaid, were you able to give a bit of an update on the program of study project, where that stands, and sort of what the next steps are, where this committee can be helpful?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Harrison. Our current programs of study, the standards that I shared with this group at our last meeting, did not, in fact, go to the board for adoption in August. In fact, they are now on the agenda for September. So I'm going to knock on wood and cross my fingers all at the same time that those remain on the agenda later on this month. But just as a reminder, those standards will cover all of our 48 programs of study across 12 different career clusters and for 152 different CTE courses. And there are some new additional ag pathways that are in those standards, which we talked about the last time, the two big buckets, plants and animals, and then working with Maeve and Suzanne and other partners across the state as we begin formulating new and more specific course level standards for some additional ag pathways. More to come on that later this fall and early in the spring. But that's where we stand right now.
Great. Thank you so much. Any committee discussion on those points?
I want to thank Richard for doing a lot of good work on this program of study guides and his staff. Richard, you mentioned to me about a comprehensive landscape needs assessment process that's coming up. Can you explain a little bit about what that's about, so that the committee knows how they might be able to intersect?
And tell me that again. I'm sorry, Suzanne. It broke up a little.
Sorry, my internet is bad today. I should probably turn off my camera, but the comprehensive landscape needs and assessment that's coming up, can you give people a little bit of a heads up about that?
Yep, absolutely. So in the spring, we'll begin our comprehensive local needs assessment, which is a federal requirement. So every 2 years, all recipients of Carl D. Perkins funds, formula funds, so these will be our local school systems and our community colleges, have to review all of their programs of study using labor market information connected to those programs, and also student performance data. And so we began a new process 2 years ago where we ensure as a state agency that all of our local school systems and community colleges are including proper community members, including workforce boards, for our secondary programs, including post-secondary instructors, and for our community colleges, including secondary instructors, and members of the community, so parents of special population students, business partners within the cluster or the program all need to have a voice at the table. These are hyper local. We'll run 24 of these, right? Every local school system will be doing these at the same time. And all 13 of our Perkins funded community colleges will be doing this at the same time. The reason for this exercise is multifold. So first, we need to make sure that the programs that are being offered actually align to jobs, right? And so that's where the labor market information comes in. We also want to make sure that there's good alignment between our secondary and post-secondary programs. So students have the opportunity to earn dual enrollment credit. There's alignment to AP or IB programs as appropriate. That we're not just sending students off after graduation with sort of thoughts and prayers of their next steps, right? Like we want actual concrete sort of connections to the world of work and post-secondary. That's what this process does. And I would encourage everybody on this committee to share with your friends and your neighbors that this work is happening to plug into your local school systems. This is how your schools will invest in CTE programming for the next 2 years, right? And so involvement and voice is absolutely critical. Harrison, I can share out more information as we get a little bit closer so that you have specific dates and can even share out information on who to contact at each county system. If you want to participate in the process, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I know that GICA does not meet during legislative session in the spring. So the next committee meetings will be in November, and then the full GICA meets in December. Do you think that information will be ready by then, or can we just share that separately with the commission?
Yeah, it may need to be shared separately with the commission.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you for that.
Yep, thank you all.
Any other questions or feedback for MSDE before we move on? All right. Well, with that, we'll move right along. The Maryland Rural Veterinarian Shortage Solutions Initiative is something that we're partaking in with the Farm Journal Foundation to really take a look at where the needs are, where the opportunities are to support rural veterinarians in the state and the development of those positions. Cassie, I'll kick it over to you if you want to give an update. I know one of the larger kickoff meetings was earlier this week. If you could provide some context on the initiative as a whole and sort of where things stand and where we're going.
Sure, absolutely. So I think hopefully most folks on the call know that there is currently a shortage of rural and food system veterinarians. But it's not just a workforce challenge. It impacts animal health, food safety, public health, our rural communities. And so a couple months ago, Secretary Addix was at a NASDA Foundation meeting, and he had the opportunity to listen to the Farm Journal Foundation present on this initiative and how it was being successfully implemented in 3 states, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Indiana. And they provided tailored assessments and solution frameworks for each of these states to help with next steps in each of the states, unique to each of the states. And so earlier this week, as Harrison said, and I know some of you guys were on the call, we kicked off our rural veterinarian shortage solution study. And we had folks from academia on there. We had folks from the industry, a number of veterinarians, interested stakeholder groups. Basically, we want to bring everybody to the table. And what the Farm Journal Foundation is doing now is they are reaching out to each of the stakeholders that we have identified, asking very pointed and direct questions to collect data that then they will analyze and use to provide us with a variety of solutions that can try to help address the causes of the shortage in our state. So that's what they'll be doing over the next few months. I have been designated as sort of like the point person for MDA. So if anybody on this call is interested in receiving more information, or you think you may have information that you would like to contribute or data you'd like to contribute to the Farm Journal Foundation, please reach out to me and I can get you connected with them. Our hope is to have something closer to the end of the year, maybe even the beginning of the year ahead of the legislative session, to use as a tool when we're talking to legislators. I know we all know it's going to be a bad year to ask for any sort of funding, but it'll help us in future years too and give us solutions that, you know, we can implement to address the issue. Richard, I don't remember if you were on the call, but I know that we had invited you and folks from MSDE, and we have staff from MHEC that we invited, the Higher Education Commission. And Suzanne, you were on the call, and we have folks from FFA and 4-H. And so we're really capturing all of our stakeholders, not just veterinarians or just, you know, the university system. So that's sort of my quick presentation. I will certainly come back as we receive more information and present to the subcommittee and even the full committee. And once we have a finalized set of recommendations and next steps, certainly can come and discuss those things as well.
Thank you, Cassie. I think that this pairs well, and the timing of this is important to tag along with the USDA rural veterinarian programs that are coming out, that are looking at scholarship opportunities and retention opportunities to keep students going through vet school in the large animal and agricultural veterinary fields. So we're hopeful that this is going to be a short-term and long-term project that's going to have real impact on opening opportunities for Maryland. Any questions, comments from the committee on that effort?
This is Suzanne. I just want to thank MDA for providing the leadership on this. It's something that's sorely needed, and we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Cassie. If there are no other questions, we can move on to new business and just open the floor to folks if there are opportunities, if there are needs that should be discussed by the subcommittee and or brought to the full GICA in the upcoming months for consideration as it relates to anything on the labor, education, and development topics. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Don't believe that there's any old business from the subcommittee that we have not discussed already. We'll open it for public comment. I don't know if Marbitco has, I see Brian is on. If you've got any updates on where things stand with your grant programs or any new exciting opportunities coming out of Marbitco to support the industry.
Hey, Harrison, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm just sitting in on the meeting on behalf of Marbitco, but I will mention that we do have a veterinarian loan program, since that was just discussed, which can help rural vets purchase a truck or refit a tractor or something for their practice, and then just to check our website for any upcoming grants or loan programs. Thanks.
Great. Thanks so much. All right. Any other business to discuss before we move on? We could take a chance. I see that Joanne Jason from Farm Bureau joined as well. Suzanne moved to approve the July 2025 committee meeting minutes. I think we need a second still from either Nancy or Joanne.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Lovely. And if we could get, I believe at this point, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
This-
motion to adjourn. It's Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Joanne. And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Lovely. Well, thank you all for your time this morning, and we look forward to seeing folks at the 11 o'clock Environment and Natural Resources meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.